Konami has announced QCRs are now being reprinted as Starlights. Yeah, we're here on Rux and Live, so there is no whoosh time to duel. So if you're a little confused, this is the second channel. Hit that subscribe button if you want news updates. And mostly me complaining about new stuff. Sadly, I wish there was more things I could do over here that weren't negative, but feels like a lot of times this is negative. Though I do have something that I think might actually be a positive to take from this current news. So we're going to get to that towards the end, but we'll start with the complaining. We love to do that. So if you guys have not heard, let's hop into it right now. Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. Let's just read this tweet. Here are today's Starlight reveals from the upcoming 2025 Mega Packs. So the 2025 Mega Packs are in the 2025 Mega Tins, where they have guaranteed Starlight rares. Starting September 5th, pick them up in the Mega Tin or the Mega Pack bundle, which, by the way, you don't even have to buy a tin anymore. They made it where you can just buy a bundle of packs, which I actually love because I always just have a bunch of tins and they just go to waste. It's a complete waste of materials and stuff. So I'm totally cool with that. It's a little weird that you can buy without a tin, but I kind of like it. Either way, you'll get 3 Starlight rares in 3 packs and 1 tin. So 3 Starlights guaranteed, 3 Prismatic Secret, 9 Ultra, and 24 Common. Now, the big thing to take from this is this card right here. Shining Sarcophagus was a QCR in a previous set. So previously it was a QCR, and then Konami's like, you know what? I know we said we wouldn't reprint QCRs. We're not. It's a Starlight rare, guys. Isn't there a SpongeBob meme for this? Like they look exactly the same? Yeah. They do look exactly the same. And this is just so disappointing. It's funny because today I posted my Justice Hunters opening, and while I was doing that opening, I was ranting about the current state of like high-end current Yu-Gi-Oh, how you can't trust it. How, yeah, I know a lot of you guys watching this, there's going to be people that complain, actually, I really like that they're reprinting it in Starlight Rare. Okay, look, all right, calm down over there. This is not good. This is not good because I was talking with Rhyme because whenever something like this pops up, me and Rhyme start sending voice messages, okay? He sent me a message. He's like, bro, because at first my initial reaction was like, okay, like you guys expected them to not reprint them? He's like, bro, like, back in the day, I like had faith that they weren't going to reprint QCRs because originally, if we go back in the timeline, Starlight Rares existed in 2019 up to like 2022. I think they started QCRs. So they were the highest rarity of current Yu-Gi-Oh! For several years, and they were really expensive and really hard to get and really cool and really collectible. And then the QCRs came out and we're like, wait, these kind of look a lot like Starlight rares, right? Why do they look so similar? And then they started reprinting the cards that already had Starlights, and people started freaking out like, oh no, they reprinted Stardust as a QCR, Black Rose. All those ones that we, invested our money in and collected, they're now making the QCR version. It was like, oh, what a bummer. Well, okay, so that is what it is, right? Well, what did Konami say to that? When we complained, we were like, I don't really like this. I don't like, there's so many other cards that could be QCR. Why do you have to do the Starlights that are already printed? They were like, okay, guys, we got you. We will never reprint QCRs. And we're like, whoa, that's crazy. Never reprinting QCRs? That's super cool for collection. Like, you ever get yourself a QCR of your favorite card or like a high-end card or a Dark Magician Girl Blue Eyes, whatever. They're not reprinting it. And that didn't count alt arts, which we found out later, but which is its own thing. Like, I don't know if I even hate that they do alt arts and QCRs. I think that's kind of cool. But we're like, okay, we feel confident about these QCRs, right? Well, then they did the Starlight Rare print. So Rhyme was like, that feels scummy to me. They told us, hey, your QCRs are good. Like, you're not reprinting those. And then as soon as they quit QCRs, they're like, haha, Starlight Rare print of everything. Because I know this isn't going to be the only one. It's not just going to be Shining Sarcophagus. There's going to be a lot of Starlight Rares that were previously QCRs getting a reprint. And you might think, who cares? What's the big deal? What QCR Starlights? We love shiny cardboard. I love shiny cardboard, right? It's awesome. It's good. And this is like the mind F for me, right? I love that they print high rarity stuff. I love that they have shiny stuff for new people. Like if you're just opening this set and you're just getting into it, it's cool to be able to pull something shiny. The problem is, I think this was the huge mistake, okay? Whether or not you're okay with them reprinting QCRs as Starlights or whatever, I think the massive mistake that Konami made was making QCRs and Starlights essentially the same rarity. Now you can say, oh, there's gold text on the QCR and there's a stamp on the QCR, so not the same. And it's like, yeah, you're right. It's not the exact same rarity, but if you took 2 and you showed them to a new player or like a random person, they'd go, yeah, those look the same to me. Like very shiny, a lot of lines on them, super holographic, right? That's that's the same card, like same rarity. And you're like, no, actually, this is QCR. This is Starlight. I think that's where they really screwed up, because imagine if Starlight Rare existed before and then QCRs came out and they looked more like, not like an ulti, but like, you know how an ulti looks much different than a Starlight Rare. If they had it that different, I don't think people would have freaked out, because it'd be like, okay, they made a new Black Rose rarity, but it's not even close to the Starlight. Because like, nobody was mad at a Starlight Rare when there's Ghost Black Rose, right? Because those are not even close to the same thing. They're much different rarities. They're very cool. It's a more modernized rarity. But then they made QCR and it felt a little lazy. It was like, oh, this is due tomorrow kind of energy. You know, let's just throw a stamp on there and make it gold text instead of rainbow. That should work, right? And that's kind of how it felt. I think that's what triggered this whole thing, where it's like, you're reprinting our card in a different rarity, but it looks exactly like this high rarity card I have. And it really impacts the card's value and collectability, because of the fact that it's basically a straight up reprint of the card, which we've never had a reprint of Black Rose Ghost Rare, right? I mean, I know they've done like Honest and has like that reprint, but that's an unlimited, right? So, and they don't really do unlimited anymore. So it's kind of weird. They did like a first ed reprint, which is really strange. So very, very weird. And another thing I want to say about the Starlight Rares being in tins, it's just kind of little off topic, but well, it's on topic, but a little bit different what I was talking about. I just think Starlight Rares and the Mega Tins just shouldn't exist. So like we're moving on from the QCR reprint thing. Well, we'll probably still talk about it, but I just don't think it should happen. 3 Starlight Rares in a tin, you pay $20 or whatever, you get 3 Starlight Rares. It completely waters down a top rarity, a high rarity. It makes it, it's supposed to be an exclusive rarity. It's supposed to be hard to get. And it is hard to get in a lot of other sets. Like in the current core sets, you have to get 3 in a case. So 288 packs, almost 1 every 100 packs you're getting a Starlight. But then you buy your Mega Tins and you get 1 every pack? Kind of weird. And it's not like they haven't done this before. They did it with Gold Series Haunted Mine with Ghost Rares, but there were only 6 of them. There weren't 100 or whatever. And they weren't doing it every single year. So every single thing had a Ghost Rare or a Starlight. With Haunted Mine, it was like a special case where, sure, if you open Haunted Mine, you might get 1 of 6 Ghost Rares. But they didn't just keep doing it. They didn't drive the Ghost Rares into the ground. They were like, you take a Ghost Rare, you take a Ghost Rare. And even not doing that, Ghost Rares were kind of falling off toward the end, because the cards they were picking were not as popular and they weren't hitting as hard as when they picked Black Rose and Starlight and stuff like that. Well, now speaking of falling off, we're putting Starlight Rares in every product. Starlight Rares that are reprinting QCRs. Starlight Rares, 100 of them in the Mega Pack. We're putting hundreds of, if they do a rarity collection at some point with Starlights, it's going to have 200 of them. And they did it with QCRs, everything out of QCR. It's just too much. It's too much for Starlight Rares. We need an exclusive rarity that's not in everything, right? It needs to be cool when you pull it. It doesn't need to be like, oh, I like how shiny this is, and that's the coolest part about it. It needs to be like, oh my gosh, I got a Starlight Rare. It's like you're at your locals, and everybody goes, oh, when they see the shine, you know? You show the sign, everybody's like, you got one! Ah, they're running around like crazy. It's not like that. You're at your locals, you're opening Mega Tins, like, cool, nice shining sarcophagus, bro. Not really. Don't really care about it. Yeah, whatever. Open your packs. Like, there's nothing cool about pulling a Starlight anymore. It's just so watered down. They've taken everything out of it. They seeped every bit out of this rarity, and they've absolutely destroyed it. Now, here's the positive side. Okay, I know that was a lot of negative. Here's my positive for this, okay? I was still talking with Ryan, and Ryan was like, you know, it's actually kind of cool, because if you think about it, QCRs, they're kind of like the high rarity now. And that jogged my memory to back when we did the 1K investment for this year. I bought a ton of QCRs from Bonanza. And I'm like, look, these can't get reprinted. Assuming we trust Konami, which I don't, but they're at least going to have to break their word to reprint QCRs as QCRs, right? I mean, they're supposed to be done with those. And I actually believe them for this, because we're way past the 25th anniversary, right? So if they just randomly whipped out 25th anniversary cards, it wouldn't even make sense, like, for them to do it. They're just going to do Starlights over and over and over. And they almost tipped their hand to us, like, okay, we're not going to reprint 25th anniversary, but showing us this shining sarcophagus, they showed us that they're just going to continually throw Starlights into the ground. So we can now make a tier list of highest rarity. 25th anniversary is at the top. And then Starlights are way down here with some of the other stuffs like prismatic ultis and stuff like that. Because QCRs are not coming back because we're past the 20th. They might make 30th anniversary, but that's still a different year. It's straight up a different card, right? It might look exactly like 25th anniversary, but it will have that 30th anniversary stamp. And by that time, it's been 5 years. So they've actually given it time to breathe like they did with like Ghost Rares and stuff like that. It's actually pretty cool because I think now if you want to buy current Yu-Gi-Oh, you actually have a target. You're never buying Starlights because you're going to get absolutely decimated by 28 reprints of them. Quarter centuries, if you buy a quarter century Dark Magician Girl from Bonanza or Stampede or whatever, it's not getting reprinted. It'll get reprinted in a Starlight or some other rarity or whatever, but your quarter century rare is going to be the only quarter century rare ever, right? Which is pretty awesome if you think about it. So I kind of like that there's now somewhere for collectors to zone in on. They can zone in, okay, I'm going to collect all the QCRs. And it was kind of bad at the time how many QCRs they produced, but now that we know they're not getting reprinted, if you want to collect all the QCRs, you're good. Like that's a set collection. You don't have to worry about more coming out. Like Starlights, you're never going to get the whole collection because you're going to get burnt out because there's thousands of them, right? Every Megaton, you got to get 100 more. You don't have to do that with QCRs. You can straight up just collect all the QCRs and it's never ever going to be added to. Like there's probably, I don't know, how many did they make? 1,000 QCRs? That maybe less. I don't know, because they did a lot of nostalgia stuff and all that Bonanza and Stampede. So maybe not 1,000, maybe 500. I don't know how many it was, but that collection is going to be set forever. It's like collecting the number cards. I guess they can come out with new ones of those, but a lot of times it's just those old ones that you need to collect, you know? So I'm actually kind of excited about that. I think that's kind of cool. And that might be a cool goal for people to go after if they want to collect Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I'm always looking for new things for collectors to actually do that makes sense, right? If you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a collection, you want it to at least somewhat hold up in value. I know there are going to be people like, why? You're a collector. You shouldn't care if it gets reprinted. You don't care if it's worth no money. Get real, guys. You don't want to spend $5,000. This is an expensive hobby, right? This is a really expensive hobby. Nobody wants to spend $5,000 on their hobby and then it'd be worth $500 in a couple years. Like, that's just dumb, okay? Like, I get that you're trying to be like, actually, real collectors just care about the artwork and everything. It's like, yes, that's why they collect it in the first place, right? If they're not like, I love this artwork so much, I'm going to spend $5,000 on it and just lose all my money. Like, some people can do that, but a lot of people can't afford to do that. Right? And it's the same reason players don't want to spend $1 million on their deck, right? You don't want to have to spend $1 billion because it's going to get reprint or it's going to get out of the meta and you're going to have to get a new deck. That part sucks. That's kind of like the collector thing. If you have a certain card and then they reprint everything, it's almost like the new meta came in, right? And just killed your whole deck and you lost all your value and all your cards except your staples or whatever. So I feel like you guys can vibe with us, right? You hate when that happens. Like you buy the entire Tenpai deck and then all of a sudden it's dead and there's a new, the K9s are here. That probably is not a relevant example, but I'm just using two archetypes that are popular. But that sucks, right? It sucks. You're like, oh, well, all my cards that were $1,000 are now $100. That sucks. And you can't even really use them anymore because they suck. So the collection, it's a little different because like, yeah, you can keep the cards. It's cool. But oh, but you're a collector. You should never sell your cards. Another thing. Come on, guys. Collectors don't, just because you're a collector doesn't mean you have to collect every single card and keep it forever, right? And because nobody does that. Because collectors like to collect new things. And a way to get new things is to sell your old ones, right? Or trade your old ones. You trade it for something else. You go trading card game, all that different stuff. So I feel like that's a few things I've seen a lot recently that I think is very unfair to collectors, that expecting us to just eat the loss because we are collectors, or you shouldn't care about your value, or oh yeah, you should never ever want to trade your cards or anything like that. It's like, come on. We all want to trade cards. We all want to improve our stuff. We all want to, oh, I paid 100 for this, get 100 back. I mean, that's like a dream, right? You paid 100, you got to keep it for a while, maybe even played it in some decks or whatever. I don't know. I'm off topic now. I'm just ranting about comments from my my other video, but I think that this is a very strange situation. Very strange. But I think there is the positive. I think QCRs might be the new thing to aim for, if you weren't already, because I know some people were already doing that. But Starlight Rares, to me, are just, I mean, they're cool. They look great. I will say I like how Starlights look better than QCRs, but you just can't trust them. You can't trust Konami. So pretty interesting situation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure some of you guys will be mad, but I think a lot of you guys will agree with me. So Ruxin Live, hit that subscribe button. We are making our way to 8K subscribers. Very exciting. If you want more updates on collector side of things, on news, on whatever, hit that subscribe button. I will see you guys in the next one. It's been a very interesting day. I got to go record with Rhyme. Got some big videos coming out, so keep an eye on his channel and mine. Peace.